Hey, what's up guys? Houston here, and for those of you just finding my YouTube channel, welcome. Please remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell. Now, for those of you who have been following me and supporting me, salute. I really appreciate it. Now, today's video, we're going to be talking about the best unsecured credit cards with no deposit, because hey, I understand there's a lot of people that say they do credit repair and everything, and so you're not getting the results. So I'm going to give you some tools to help you clean up your own credit. Not only that, just show you some of the cards that you may want to target. Now, first off, let's understand what it is that I would suggest that you do if you're trying to restore your credit and you have bad credit and you're trying to get credit cards with no deposit. The first thing that I would tell you to do is I would tell you to, one, let's talk about blocking Lexus Nexus. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to go to Lexus Nexus, and I want you to put a block on your file. Okay, and the reason you want to do that is because Lexus Nexus, they sell information to the credit bureaus. That's right. So where the credit bureaus get most of their information is through Lexus Nexus. All right, that's one of their main components. Now, here's something that you all have to understand about this. When you block your Lexus Nexus, understand that there's two components to it. Okay, you want to put a freeze, and then you want to put a block. The reason that you want to do both of those is so they can stop selling your information to the credit bureaus, because without them actually without you actually putting that freeze and block on you, they still are able to sell data on you and stuff that the credit bureaus can pick up, even if the credit bureaus don't buy your data. So that's the reason that the first thing, like I said, if you have bad credit and you're trying to get credit cards with no deposit and stuff like that, you need to do these freezes. So the first one is blocking Lexus Nexus. Okay, now number two, you want to put a block on your Sage Street. Okay, that's what you want to do. All right, so by you putting a block on these two systems here, okay, what it does, it helps again, I would say putting a block on these two systems, then because the credit bureaus are buying data, which is pushing your credit score down, this here would put a freeze. So now the only way that they'll get data and stuff through actual credit card companies and other creditors and stuff. And don't get me wrong, there are other main databases out here, but I would target these two first. I tell you, if you target these two first, then by you doing that and then challenging some small items on your credit, then that would help you be able to get qualified for unsecured cards with no deposit if you have bad credit. Now, here's one thing, there's two more things that I also want you to do before we actually talk about the credit cards, because it's a strategy that I want you all to understand. Okay, now number three, I would say if you have Experian Boost and TransUnion, they have something like a Boost too. But the reason I tell you to do Experian Boost, because if you're doing like Netflix streaming or Spotify streaming and stuff, like they would actually report that to help build up your credit as well. Now, also, you want to also make sure that your rent payments and utilities are being reported as well. Okay, so there's companies out there that will be able to do that for you, and which again, it's very important, especially if you're trying to build up your credit and to be able to get more funding and stuff like that. Okay, now we're talking about the best unsecured cards with no credit for bad credit. These are the steps that I would do, and then there's one more step I would go. Okay, and if you have a family member, I would ask that family member if they would add you on as a authorized user. Okay, now hear me out. You want them, if they're going to add you on as an authorized user, there are companies out there that sell AUs to help boost up the credit and stuff like that. We offer AUs as well, but I always tell, see if a family member can help you out first, okay? Because again, when you're at the bottom, you may not have a whole lot of capital to help pull you up and stuff like that. So being able to reach out to friends and family members that may be able to help you. So what you want to do in understanding about the AU, okay, you want it between 2 to 4 years old, all right? And like I said, it doesn't have to be that old, just between 2 to 4 years, okay? And no payments missed in the past 2 years, all right? So, okay, so that's what you want, all right? And so if, you know, some people may have that, but they may have a credit card that's only has a $500 credit limit or whatever, and hey, it is what it is. But if you're really trying to rebuild your credit, then these are the steps that I would start with first before applying for these unsecured credit card with no deposit for bad credit. These are the first steps that I would start with. Okay, now we're finna get ready to talk about the credit cards, and the reason that I'm pulling these credit cards and that I'm suggesting these credit cards to you is because you can actually do a pre-approval on these credit cards, right? And so the first one would be Milestone, okay? And please understand that some of these credit cards, they have higher interest rates and stuff. They may have an annual fee, okay? But at the same time, they are credit cards that before you even pull the trigger on the application, you can do a pre-qual, okay? So you can do a pre-qual on these type of credit cards. That way you don't get the hard inquiry on your credit report if you already have a bunch of inquiries, okay? So that's the reason that I'm recognizing these here credit cards and sharing them with you. Now, another one is Reflex, okay? Now, in terms of Reflex, it is a MasterCard, but again, just the same. You do a pre-qual, so that means that the people said no credit check. So basically that's what they're saying, is that they're going to do a soft pull, so that means that it won't be a hard inquiry on your credit and it won't lower your credit score. But again, for those of you, just stick with me, because I have a card in here that we're going to talk about. Well, as a matter of fact, I have 2 cards in here that we're going to talk about that's going to actually build a strategy and a bridge to make sure that you're getting to that next level, okay? So just work with me. And so let's get going, all right? Number 3, and some of these cards you're already familiar with. Indigo, okay? So again, Indigo, again, it's people would say as a no credit check. I just say as a pre-qual, but just the same. That means that, again, you can pre-qualify for the card before you actually apply for the card, so that hard inquiry won't hit your credit and pull your credit score down. All right. Then you have Surge, right? And it's a MasterCard. All right. Then the next one we have is Fit, okay? And then you have, just bear with me a moment because this is a lot to process. What is that? Total, okay? Now Total, okay? So understand that Total credit card, you have to have a checking account. Okay, so you do have to have a checking account for Total. Now this is just 7 of them, but like I told you, there's 2 credit cards that I really want you all to know about that's going to actually help you strategize and get you to the next level. And one of the cards, well, not one of the cards, but this is another card that if you are a non-citizen, you don't have a Social Security card, then you want to check out Deserve EDU, okay? Because they will give you a credit card with no Social Security number, okay? So with no social SSN, all right? So for those of you, again, rebuilding your credit, you want credit cards, unsecured credit cards with no deposits, and you have bad credit, or you don't have any credit at all, then these are the cards that you want to go with. Now, as I promised, let's talk about strategy and two of the cards that I think that I would encourage you all to get if your credit is strong enough. All right. Now, these are bank cards. These are bank credit cards, okay? So with some of these bank credit cards, they do have a threshold of $550, I think, with this one bank here. All right. So with Wells Fargo, for their security, I think it's like $450, right? But again, like I said, it's not an unsecured. But here's the thing about it. Talking about strategy and building yourself up. I would still, if I had a Wells Fargo close to me, I would still do a secured card with them, all right? And I would open up a personal account, and then I would open up a business account as well. And not only that, I would also get their secured business credit card as well. Now you say, well, Houston, why would I do that? Again, because these cards and these steps is help building your credit up, right? So as you build your credit up, you're going to want to get to that next level to where you're actually getting bigger and larger lines of credit anyway, right? So building a relationship with Wells Fargo would definitely be your strategy to be able to, down the road, to be able to get larger lines, because you want to get, if you open up your business bank account, okay, well, along with your personal bank account, now you have more relationship with Wells Fargo, right? So that secured card can flip, turn into a regular credit card. Again, the sooner you start building up the credit, the better it is. But at the same time, once they get to the business account and applying for the business credit cards, you already have something. You already starting a business credit profile, right? And the reason you want the business credit profile is so you can get the larger lines of credit. See, on the personal side, they give you like smaller lines, but on the business side, they're giving you about, I would say average, maybe about 2.5 times the limit of whatever your personal is. So that's the reason that I'm trying to encourage you all to strategize and build it this way, okay? So that's the reason I said number one card I would go with is Wells Fargo. Now there are some other cards that I can throw in the mix, and these are like with Discover, right? So with Discover, they have a student card, okay? Now with the student cards for people with no credit, or people just starting out with credit or whatever, but sometimes if you have bad credit, because of their threshold is so low, you may be able to get qualified for the Discover student credit card. Now, if you try any of the strategies, I would encourage you, hey, let me know what's up. Let me know what you've done and what strategies you have to help build up your credit by putting a comment below. You know, give me a like or something. Let me know if I'm doing a good job. I'm helping you with the strategies and stuff, and it's something that's working for you. Now, let's talk about that second card, okay? And this is a doozy. We're talking about not Cap One. We're not going to talk about Cap One, but we're going to talk about Capital One, because this is something, a lot of people get these two mixed up. Those are two separate companies. Cap One and Capital One is two separate companies. And so a lot of people get those mixed up and everything. But if I'm going to go for the Capital One, okay, I believe in partnerships. So with the Capital One, they work with Walmart, right? And so some people are like, well, you have to have at least, I guess with Walmart, getting a credit card through Walmart, people have been able to get it with like a 640 or something like that, right? So I would actually try to get a Walmart Capital One instead of going straight through Capital One. Now, again, Capital One, they do follow that threshold where they have the secured credit cards, but you may be able to qualify for just their credit card and stuff. But I would still try to get the Walmart credit card, okay? And the time frame to have your highest chance of being qualified for a Capital One especially is during the holidays. And I know the holidays is way off and stuff like that, or during school season and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just strategies like this, I think, is going to help you all understand of why this is so important. Now, like I said, with the Wells Fargo, excuse me, Walmart is WM, sorry about that. But with the Capital One, building a relationship with Capital One, you may want to be able to open up a bank account, a personal account, and a business bank account with them as well. Now, you all know that they also, like if your credit isn't that strong, that Capital One, they do have business credit cards with a lower credit threshold, so you don't have to be in the 700s. You actually don't even have to be a 680. But at the same time, again, it's all about the relationship. Now, one thing about Capital One, what they recently did, if you're going to go to Capital One Cash Card, it's a Capital One Business Cash, excuse me. It's the Capital One Business Cash for new people. And the reason that I like this here is because they're no longer reporting this on your personal credit as long as you make your payments and stuff on time. Now, if you miss your payments with the Capital One Business Cash, then it will start reporting to your personal credit. And yes, they will still pull all three bureaus, okay? So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't know, and this is 3 things that you have to understand. Whenever you're trying to get a credit card and stuff, here's the thing about it, especially an unsecured card with no deposit and you have bad credit. Here's the thing that most people end up being denied for, okay? Their DTI is too high. Their debt to income ratio. Their debt to income ratio is, like, some banks even tolerate 50, but a lot of people, they may have like a 65, 70% DTI, right? So when financial institutions look at that, they're like, well, they won't have enough discretionary income to actually pay us back. Sometimes you will slip through the cracks and they will still give you a credit card, but it's going to be a low limit because they want to actually see how you manage your credit. So that's the reason. This is one of the biggest reasons, okay? And another one is inquiries. Now, one of the things about inquiries, I tell people on each credit bureau, you want to stay between 6 to 8, okay? If you go over that, sometimes you're going to have a 90% chance of denial, okay? Now, remember back early in the video that I said block Lexus Nexus and Sage Stream, okay? So when you have inquiries and stuff, you may be able to challenge some of those inquiries and get them removed from the credit bureau, so that way your inquiries goes down, your opportunity to be able to get qualified for unsecured credit card with no deposits go up. That's the reason I tell you all about focusing on strategy, okay? And I know this is a long video, but I appreciate you all hanging out with me, and definitely I salute you all for supporting me. But I really want you all to understand that a lot of people in our community, they're struggling right now, and a lot of people in our community are hurting, and they need somebody to be able to break this stuff down and explain to them and what strategies they could use to be able to boost themselves up on a financial level. So this is Houston with three-way funding. Again, I appreciate all of you all for supporting me. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and look out for the next video. Thank you.